When you were running around Vegas, you had Elvis. I think Tom Jones was around there as well.
We met at the Riviera one night, and I commented on his cufflinks, and he went, "Here, you have these."
Wow.
Oh, yes. Well, Aquaman, one of my favorite superheroes.
Oh, you mean the Snoop Dogg party?
Yeah, Snoop Dogg, yeah. There's necessarily a reality above just the material reality.
Home protection.
Bow and arrow. I don't know.
Our nation is incredibly strong, but it can easily be brought down from within.
I think we all have a calling to a higher purpose.
Hey everyone, welcome to the first, and maybe the only, I don't know, business theme live stream. I received a lot of questions over the last few months about how do I get into business? How do I start my own thing up? And so this is a response to that. This is for those people that are thinking about potentially entering into an entrepreneurial endeavor. And so I'm looking forward to our time together today. I was able to work for the last week or two with my daughters to put together a list of what we believe to be the 99 best businesses to start in 2025. We'll tease that then later on in the live stream in the notes for those that attend. We're going to put that in the live stream in the notes section. Again, this is only on YouTube, and we actually, I heard that Elon and the Don made up, so we decided at the last minute to go ahead and stream it over on X as well. So we're both places right now, but I see some people starting to trickle in. So welcome. Bring your questions, bring your answers. I'll try to bring some answers, but I might have questions for you. You bring some answers for me, and we'll work that way out. Again, we're just two students sitting in the same classroom, exchanging notes on what's worked and what hasn't worked in life. And so really excited to be with you. We've got Nev on the back end producing the show, and we're going to spend about an hour and a half together today. Going over this. Again, we'll provide you a link to download the full 99 businesses to start later on in the show. And I'm also going to give you some other tools, some other hacks to utilize as you begin to construct the necessary entrepreneurial advancement mindset. So looking forward to our time together today. We have all the shots ready to go. We've got the wide shot. We got the overhead shot, so we can schematic some plans. Hopefully you can hear my audio still. That was the big problem last time. And I can keep rocking and rolling as we draw, we plan, we ask questions. So feel free to butt in if you have any questions at any time. But then we'll have a set aside Q&A time a little bit later on. But I'm so excited that you join me today. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through some of these basics about starting a business, starting some sort of entrepreneurial endeavor. And I also want to walk you through some of the tools that I've used. And so first off, I want to walk you through what I consider to be the top business books that I found. I'm gonna see if I can share this here. Let's see, book recommendations right here. So hopefully you can see those book recommendations there, and I'm going to share this for you in a little bit. But we'll share it down in the chat. But these are the best book recommendations that I recommend that I use. These are sort of like the fast start for new entrepreneurs to be able to get sort of a mindset of what's needed to happen in the back end as you begin these new endeavors. And so I've got some of these books here with me. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which we can talk about here in a little bit. This is really a game changer with getting your mentality about how you're going to begin to focus not on earn income, but on creating assets in your life. This is a great primer. And then I've got another book here. This is a tiny book. This is a teeny tiny book by Peter Drucker called Managing Oneself. I buy these things by the dozens to give them away. This is about an hour to read. It's short. It's tiny in thickness and also in dimensions, but this is a great pocket read to have and to hand out to people that you work with. This is also one of the great books that gives you sort of a dense, concise view of what it takes to be someone that manages themselves. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Again, I'm going to give you guys links to all this. I'll give you this as a PDF in the show notes. The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I don't have a copy of it here with me in the office, but this is certainly a classic that you're going to want to have instilled as you go on any entrepreneurial effort. Maxwell. Anything by John Maxwell is going to be just gold. This is I got the classic. This is one of my black spine books here, so I got to uncover it here. So this is the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. This is a classic that everyone should read. This is a great way to get your mindset into a leadership position and out of a follower position. This is a great book as well. One of my staff recommended it to me a couple of years ago. We actually read this as a company, How Highly Effective People Speak. You notice all the tabs that I have in here, tabs at top. Tabs at the top mean these are things worth speaking about, communicating about. Tabs at the side are tabs for reviewing. So when you see a book like this of mine, this is sort of what the tabs mean here. But this is just pure gold about how to speak. And then I thought I'd go ahead and throw in a modern day classic. This is Alex Hormozi's $100 Million Offers. Just a great book. He's got a lot of great diagrams in here that you'll see me roll out through the book launch process over the next 3 or 4 weeks. You probably begin to see it all in the videos that I've released over the last couple of weeks. And then finally, Blue Ocean Strategy. This is I leave this at the end because this is something that's a little bit more advanced, and it's going to create a tendency to delay. And so what I want you to do is I want you to start a business rather than trying to delay and plan a business, because this is really what we need right now. We need some momentum whenever we begin. So this is Blue Ocean Strategy, but we'll put this in the show notes as well, so you can download that as a PDF, and hopefully that'll be accretive to your learning. But we've got to get the mindset right before we embark on any endeavor. We have to be action oriented. So we have this thing called barriers to entry. Barriers to entry are the things that hold us back from being able to get into certain industries. These are the reasons why the people that build the AI chips are just banking right now. This is the reasons why the pharmaceutical companies tend to do pretty well, that not just anyone can get in the pharmaceutical business. These tend to be high profit, defensible positions that you can begin to build a business and build a life around. Let me give you an idea about how this works. We're going to go up to the visual camera up here. Generally, you have, and by the way, my wife reminds me that I do not have the nicest penmanship, so this is what it is. But generally, you have a ladder, and you have these different rungs. These are the lower rungs down here. These are the higher rungs up here. Now, the jobs that pay the least are the ones where they're highly comfortable. Move the great mug out of the way. Highly comfortable job. These are jobs that have low investment. So these are jobs that maybe don't cost anything. You don't have to have any skill set to go to, no education. And then immediately above that, you have jobs that are a little bit tougher. And these jobs are difficult above that. So as you ascend the ladder, your income increases. This is true but for jobs or for businesses. This is low end. So the closer you get to this, the closer you're getting to minimum wage. As you ascend this ladder, you begin to get into a position where you're able to command prices rather than be dictated to about your prices. And so this is a low investment scenario, but this is high investment up here. Let me show you what this looks like. This is right around here, this difficult position with this middle investment. This is where you begin to see the barriers to entry really play an impact. This is where your doctors live. This is where your attorneys live. This is where your brokers live. They each require licensing. They each require some sort of education, and they are able to make at least a decent income based off that. So there's some difficulties to there, and there's also some barrier to entry, some educational. Again, licensing. I like licensing here because licensing is a fairly low risk, low way of being able to weed out some competition. Again, you're looking for something that prohibits it's a barrier to other people that are coming from up here. If you want to start a business where anyone can do it, and there's no licenses needed, there's no capital needed, you're going to be in a bloodbath. You're going to be an absolute bloodbath because your competition's high, therefore your margins are going to be low, and you're not ever going to be able to break out. Now, some of the businesses that I'm going to give you today are high competition, low barrier to entry businesses because we need to get some iterations. We need to get some reps in to learn how to function at these higher levels. But we're going to be working on a way that we move up here. Now, let me show you what the higher levels look like. Up here, this is where your relationships begin to play a critical role. The relationships, your connections, your integrity over the long term. These begin to play a serious role here. And this is where the capital intensity begins to play a role as well. So it doesn't matter how smart you are. It doesn't matter how smart you are over here, how educated you are, anything like that. Once you get to about this level right here, your capital attraction, the capital you're able to attract or generate, will then be what keeps you from going forward. But it also proves true that this is a significant barrier. This may be a $5 million or $10 million a year barrier right here that keeps you from moving on. But my goal right now for today is to get you up to here. Up here, this is where you begin to you begin to manage capital. This is the Intels, this is the pharmaceutical companies, this is the IP companies. But we're looking for things that prevent new incumbents from coming in too easily. This could be IP, this could be capital, this could be a number of other things. Education is one of those things, licensing is one of those things. So these are the barriers to entry that we're going to be looking out for as we move forward. So that's actually the game plan that we're looking for lower barrier entry things that we can do right now, but we're also thinking long term how we're going to move up that ladder to the higher barrier to entry businesses and income streams that'll help propel us forward, but also provides a defensive mechanism for our future, because you don't want to always be in a bloodbath of an industry. You want to be able to have a little bit of wiggle room. You want to be able to control some margins. The people that are at the lower end, the people that are working 9-to-5 jobs, they're having the most difficult time. You know who also has the same difficult time? Nick Huber actually just tweeted about this. I wish I could find the tweet here, but Nick Huber, who just had this great book come out, just very successful book about sweaty startups, just tweeted out and said that the most difficult position is really for a man that makes about $120,000, $150,000 a year, because he has enough money to pay the bills and he has a little bit left over, but it's too risky for him to go start something new. And he doesn't make enough money to go invest in something like that, but it leaves him in a predicament where he's never ever willing to take the risk because he has these golden handcuffs, and so that tends to be a very difficult place to be. But that was from Nick Huber. I read that a second ago. Great thought right there. That keeps a lot of men down. So I would submit for your consideration that the best possible position to be in is the position of someone that is desperate, that you need them, but you're out of work, you have a family to feed. That's the best position to be in. It's like in the art of war, where the worst position to put your enemy in for you is to put their backs up against a wall, because they're going to fight because they know they're going to die. And so this is why we want to work through this and work into a situation where we're hungry enough, we're willing to go feed our family, and we're going to go start something that works. And so let's look through. I'm going to put a little graphic up here. Let's look through what it takes to move through this progression. And this ladder of despair of interest ladder that I drew up for you is also very interesting to think of in terms of how Robert Kiyosaki talks about it in his book Rich Dad Poor Dad that I showed you a second ago. This is understanding the game board. This is called the cash flow quadrant, and that people will generally start as an employee and work towards self-employed. But the problem with that is that once you're self-employed, you're basically employed by everybody else, and so you have very limited types of options there. But it's still better than being just a regular employee. So as you move from employee to self-employed, your income can increase, your availability and your options can increase because more employers that can demand you can demand pricing from. And then from being a self-employed, you're going to be a business owner and finally an investor. Investor is the best place to be because there's capital out there working on your behalf. But a business owner is probably the second best place to be. So this is going to be your strategy. Conceptually, you're working from an employee to being self-employed, from self-employed to being a business owner. This means you're hiring other people to help you work that that business that you've created, and then from being a business owner to investor in the end. That's the best place to be overall. And so that's Rich Dad's cash flow quadrant. That's how conceptually you want to work on it. But then strategically through your business options, you certainly want to work through that ladder, those barrier to entries along that ladder. So I want to preview some of the 99 business categories that we put together. So these 99 businesses are classified in I guess it's 5 categories. First, you've got local service businesses. So these are your basic trades you're able to do with very, very low skill set, but you're able to learn them either online or through kind of a short-term licensing option. Number 2, these are sort of licensing of products. So these are the use and the propagation of information products IP. Number 3, I've got some businesses there that are B2B consulting type businesses. So these seem to be very lucrative because if you can get in with a business as one of your clients that is on its ascent, that gives you an opportunity to scale on their coattails. And here's a pro tip: businesses that are raising capital actively are less studious with their vendor payments. They're less studious generally. And so they're looking for investments, and they're a little bit more growth oriented. So those are great places to ride on. So if you have an upstart business and you're able to attract 1 or 2 of these fast growth companies that are raising capital from investors, especially that are technology driven, those are great places to build a long-term business. The 4th classification of businesses are asset-based or asset-backed businesses. These are sort of your rental home businesses, those sorts of things. And then number 5, I gave you some businesses that are remote-friendly digital plays. So these are digital plays. But remember that ladder of barriers to entry, the remote digital plays are some of the easiest things to do unless you have a high degree of technical competence, or you're able to get in a high growth stream before the competition arrives. And so if you're talking about social media, you want to put all your eggs in the MTV basket. If you want to put your things in the sexy, you want to do work in the sexy areas, like YouTube, it's just going to be a bloodbath. Like, you're not going to make money doing that for if you're 99.99% of people. And so sort of a fool's game unless you have some sort of one-off attractive quality about you. So we want to stay away from those, but I added some of those to the list that are sort of offshoots of that area. So let me give you 3 of the hot opportunities for men in their 20s to kind of 50s right now that I see. Obviously, the women that are watching, these may be great options for you as well. And so number 26 on the list that you'll see again when we provide the list is AI prompt engineering and training. AI prompt engineering and training. Let me give you an idea about how this looks. So I was trying to get some new photography done for my book launch the last couple of weeks, and I wasn't able to get any done by a local photographer. I didn't have time to travel, didn't have time to bring anyone in. I didn't want to spend money to bring anyone in. And so I reached out to a lady on Upwork. Now, if you're not on Upwork and you're in a digital trades business or you're a consulting business, you definitely want to be on Upwork. I've probably spent, my guess would be $1 million on Upwork contractors over the last handful of years. It's really a great place to find some really great quality people, and I highly recommend that. But on Upwork, I was able to find a lady that is a AI photographer and Photoshop expert. And so she had me send her headshots and full body shots of myself in various different scenarios, certain clothing, and that sort of thing. And she was able to use those, and she's actually training an AI model right now so that she can automatically spit out new images of me that look photo-like, but are able to do that in half the time. And I think I'm paying her $100 per image, which is fairly inexpensive, but she's still making some good money. But once she trains this AI to image me, she'll have some recurring income as time goes on. So this is one way that's business number 28, AI prompt engineering and training. She's training AI for me. Prompt engineering is also the art of going to the various LLMs, the ChatGPT, the Claude, Grok, for instance, and training prompts and kind of A/B testing prompts against each other, and then selling those prompts or advising people on how to use those prompts. Business number 56, sort of the handyman service angle, but this is a marketer for handyman services. So you have all these localized handyman services in your neighborhood. They probably don't have a consolidated marketing source, a lot of word of mouth, that sort of thing. Maybe the old yellow pages are so active in your area. There's probably a need for people to market and to set those appointments for people. And so if you had maybe 4 or 5 different handyman services in your area, you were able to recruit, or even do this before you recruit them, and just being able to market online for them and send them leads. I think you could probably make maybe $50, 25 to $50 per recommendation, per referral out to them. And so this is a viable opportunity for anyone. So this is not doing the handyman services yourself. This is marketing, selling the services on their behalf. Business number 93. This is a little more in the tactical world. Remember, we don't always want to live in the digital world. We want to live into the tactical world, the world of atoms, not the world of bits. And so Business 93 is offer meal prep pickup coordination. So this is for busy families, busy moms, working moms that have a need they want to have healthy food at home, but they don't want to have to make lunches. They don't have to make dinners. And so these meal prep services they're fire right now. They're just on fire right now. But not all of them deliver. A lot of them just ship. And so basically you would do the delivery in lieu of shipping. And the expectation would be that you can deliver a lot faster than a shipment would take place. And you can also guarantee quality. One additive for this, if you want to sort of up your game, is if you have the trust in place with some of these more wealthy, more well-to-do families, is you could actually provide delivery into their pantries or into their refrigerators as trust builds. And so this is a great way to build that. And it's also a protective barrier, because once they trust you and you don't let them down, you provide good prompt service in delivering these things, you can then command higher prices because they're a little bit more apprehensive about letting new people into their home. And so those are 3 hot opportunities that I see for men and for women who want to take this up. Again, we're going to put the full list in the chat a little bit later on in the show. And so I want to look at businesses that are outdated right now. What are some businesses that are outdated? Businesses that you should not get into. Businesses you should not get into. I'm gonna take a second here. This is the Dr. Pepper Zero Cherry. You very rarely find one of these. I have one left, so I'm going to share this with you right now instead of a coffee. Parched the throat. The throat's a little parched right now. I'm trying to do 80 podcasts for the book launch, and so it's a lot of this. A lot of sort of talking to camera and talking to folks, and so the voice goes out. But I want to talk about these businesses that are outdated, these things that are going away, because the Chat GPTs, the Grok, the Claudes, the AI is basically putting a lot of these out of business. And so these are some things we want to stay away from. Number one, we're moving into a world of zero click. Zero click. It used to be 2 years ago that you could advertise, you could show up on Google and you could expect a certain number of clicks. In fact, in our real estate business, we used to get thousands of clicks a month. It was a very, 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 very reliable source of leads for investment clients and so forth. Now it's just dwindled away. It's not that much anymore at all, because people aren't clicking on search results anymore. They're looking at the response that Google or whatever their search engine is giving them up front, that's AI generated. And so if you're going to build a business around SEO, which has been one of the more common entrepreneurial endeavors over the last 20 years, that's going away. That's going away. And also, you don't want to focus on an SEO strategy. You don't have to write blogs, you don't have to build content anymore. You have to have a solid web presence and then move on from that. So SEO is moving away. You don't want to build a business around that. And then also, old school digital marketing is probably going away. I think the paid ads on social platforms are here to stay, but your traditional marketing is probably going to be tougher, because AI is going to be able to automate a lot of that. And frankly, I like the old world sweaty businesses. If you have a wrench and a pipe wrench and a electrical license and a plumber's license, you can do a lot with that. In fact, you can build a lot of scale there. In fact, a lot of the PE, a lot of the private equity energy is in those 2 trades right now. So this is a great thing. It's a comment from Paul here, joining on YouTube. so I can use headphones in the office. That'll boy. I'm sad you're going back to the office, Paul. I thought you were going to be remote for a little longer. So yeah. So glad to see you're listening to how to start new businesses while you're in the office. That's a brave man here. So here's what we're going to do. We're gonna drop some of the links in the chat. Nev's going to drop them. Nev, if you want to go and drop the 99 best businesses spreadsheet first, we'll get that out to folks so they can click on that. So you should be able to see this on all the different platforms. I know that it's just showed up on YouTube. Again, we're streaming to X as well right now because apparently Elon and the Don are getting together now. Just Paul, and so you should be able to see this that message on whatever platform you're on right now. So that's coming up there, and then the 7 book recommendations for new entrepreneurs. That's also going to. Nev, feel free to post that whenever you want to. We're going to move into a Q&A time. If there's any folks there that have questions that they want to ask. The idea here is you can ask about anything. It doesn't have to be about business. It doesn't have to be about strategy. It can be about anything that you want to. And this is really going to be a time we're able to go back and forth and able to ask anything. You want to ask anything about religion? You want to ask anything about philosophy? You want to ask anything about anything and about any of these books? We can go through those things. But the idea here is I want to leave you with something that's helpful. Again, the 99 businesses start. You might find one thing on that list that's useful, and then toward the end, after we do some Q&A, I'll also give you some next action points for all of those. Now, on the 99 businesses spreadsheet, you're going to have not only the business and the classification of the business, but you're also going to have 3 steps. The 3 steps are fairly common among all 99 of them, but I'm also going to give you a link to an Amazon book that has to do with that trade or a corollary of that trade for you to read. And so what I'm saying right now is that I'm giving you 7 books that are sort of general entrepreneurial in nature, and then I'm also giving you the 99 best businesses to utilize with books that are for each of the 99. So if you find 3 that you're interested in, click on those 3, order those 3 links, and those 3 books on those 3 links, and hopefully those will be able to help you start a business or perfect one of the businesses that you maybe already have underway. Again, we're trying to move from the employee mindset to the self-employed mindset to the business mindset, and then eventually to the investor mindset. Because investor mindset, that's where your capital works for you. This is a great way to move out. Now, we have this matter at play, and again, I've got some storm clouds coming in. I'm running this thing off of one of Elon's Starlinks, so we'll see how well this plays out. But one of the things we want to move out from is this idea of only starting one business and only being one type of business as we move along. I think at first it's probably helpful. In Robert Greene's book Mastery, talks about the need to commit 7 to 9 years to learning a trade. That's a long time. But we also have to remember too that mastery, if you're ever going to master something, mastery, it only comes from masters. Like, you got to find someone that you can learn from. I'm not your plumbing guru. I'm not your real estate guru. I'm not really an expert in any of that stuff. I've done some stuff, but I'm not the expert in those fields. But there's probably those experts out there. There's probably those masters to go humble yourself and learn from each of the fields. And so this is a great place to go. Again, if you can't find them in real life, you can definitely find them online. There's a message from Kirk. Hey, Kirk, this man, Kirk, I tell you about him. He caused my family to fall in love with the sport of lacrosse like 6-7 years ago. And my girls love lacrosse. My middle daughter loves lacrosse. We're on a travel lacrosse team now. And then as soon as we get sort of entrenched in this thing, he moves off, he absconds off and leaves us alone. Now they're doing lacrosse up north, and we're doing lacrosse here in Houston. But Kirk, hey, good to hear from you, man. So the idea here is that we want to be able to build wealth by using this strategy. Let me go back to the board here, and I'll wait for a couple of questions to come in here. Again, this is the way to think about the cash flow quadrant. First, you're an employee, and then you're self-employed. Now, with both of these scenarios, it's really just you. It's really just you. But the idea here is once you're self-employed, you have the opportunity to have multiple clients. So this is just one client, but this is 2x clients. And so each client's going to teach you something different. They're going to teach you about a process, a way they like certain things done. You're going to learn some best practice from each client. This is going to be very, very accretive here. And then so finally up here, whenever you're willing to hire people to help you scale this self-employed here, you're going to hire people in a business. Now, business is something very interesting because as long as you're working full-time in the business, you're not really a business owner. You're basically owned by the business. But this is still a much, much better place to be. This is where your top 1 to 2% of America is. You can have a very, very lovely life here in this business owner. In fact, this is probably the goal of most people, is to be in this business quadrant up here. So we're moving from here to here, here to here. You don't want to move from here to here, in my opinion, because you don't get the learning difficulties, you don't get the educational benefits of being in this self-employed quadrant. And then from here, Kiyosaki says you want to move from a business owner into an investor. Now, some people will move, they'll trickle some money into investment account, like a 401k account, things like that, from here or from here. But I think the best way to fund this, and you have to get a significant amount of corpus into this investment quadrant, enough you're able to pay all your bills. The best way to get there is by having a business. And so this is your strategy. You're gonna start here, you're gonna go here, go up to business, and then fourth, you're going to be an investor. And you'll do both of these at the same time. You'll invest and be a business owner at the exact same time until you get enough money, until you have an exit event. This is when you sell your business or you leave it to the next generation. You have enough income where the income off your investments are enough to keep you afloat and pay all your bills, plus you've got some left over there. But until you get to that point, you've got to keep the business going. And you got to be able to get some skill out of any self-employment. So now a lot of people, what they'll find is that they're sort of trapped in the self-employment route. This is where most of your attorneys are. This is most of your CPAs are, if they're not working for one of the big 4 firms, not one of the big 5 firms anymore. Remember, one of them went away a few years ago in the Enron debacle. But we find this true that it's difficult for people to leave the safety. There's safety in employment, and then you move to self-employment where you're doing everything yourself. Like if I want something done right, I got to do it myself, right? That's sort of the common phraseology there. But we've got to figure out a way to burst out of that. And so this is really a rough situation to be in. Is again, you're that man who's making $100,000 to $150,000 a year. You're very comfortable. You're able to provide for your family. You got a little bit left over. It's not worth the risk to leave that comfort and move on. But if you're someone that's hungry, you're not able to pay the bills, you're struggling to get through, you don't enjoy your job, it's worth a shot. It's worth a shot to break out and try something self-employed. Again, you got a lot of really great websites that take care of a lot of the marketing for you. You look at Upwork, you even look at Fiverr. Fiverr, you don't need a lot of skill set to be able to be on Fiverr and make some serious cash. On Upwork, I'll commonly go through Upwork and I'll look at people that are living in Eastern Europe, they're living in parts of Asia, and obviously in the Americas, and they've made over 3 or 4 or 5 years, they made $300,000, $400,000, $900,000 off of Upwork as an attorney, as an AI engineer, as someone that is a professional in a specific trade. But they also have this is the kicker. You got to be able to prove it in order for people to pay you that, right? And so they have the ability to be able to show that in a very visual fashion through a demo reel, a highlight reel, some AI that they put together, and that sort of thing. The other way that you get into that is you're able to take up that ladder of that barrier to entry ladder. You're moving up through the educational cycle, you're moving up through the licensing. So you pair high education with high licensing. That puts you in the realm of the attorneys and the doctors there. And then you can then add on to that, and you can become one of the high demand doctors. You think about like a neurosurgeon, for instance. Neurosurgeon is a great example where they're making several $100,000 a year. Very, very high liability, very, very high demanding schedule. A very difficult thing to get into, so you have low competition. It's a great place to be in, but you can. It's very rare that you're going to go out and be able to hire 6 or 10 more neurosurgeons to go operate that, because most cities don't need 6 to 10 neurosurgeons that are within a specific specialty, and so that's a difficult place to be in, where you're earning a ton of money. and you're not able to really escape that because you make too much money. You're too comfortable, and you're almost there. And so we're going to focus on what we can do so that we have a stepping stone into this business quadrant and into this investment quadrant. And so that stepping stone tends to be self-employment. But you've got to, when you're in that self-employment, you got to look for the systems and strategies to be able to get you out of that. Here's one tip. Here's one pro tip. There's a lot of people that find themselves in jobs, and those jobs, they see it, they have insight, like they're performing the jobs. Well, I think I could do it better this way, right? It's funny because a couple of years ago, we went on a recruiting binge, and we recruited, I think, 25 MBA graduates from these various schools to come join us. They all joined us like at the same time. 25 MBAs, all new, freshly minted MBAs. Some of them had some really great internships, but when I'm meeting with them, they're like, "Yeah, I'm ready to take over the business." Like, well, you have an MBA? Yeah. What is your experience? Well, I intern here and intern here, and I'm ready just to run things. I know better. And that is a little bit of an issue because they don't have the experience, the competency. So you need a certain number of iterations to go through this. And so I would encourage you that one of the drawbacks is sometimes you'll be in a job, or you'll be in a self-employment situation. You've been there for a number of weeks or months or even a year or two, and you have an insight about how to do this better. And you think in the back of your mind, well, how can I do this better? I'm going to go start my own business, or I'm going to find someone to partner with to go start my own business to do this better. The risk there is that you don't have enough iterations to know for sure why that's the best opportunity. And your assumption should always be that if you have someone that has 10x more than what you have in a specific domain, so this is someone that maybe works in the same area of law that you do, same area of oil and gas engineering as you do, same area of real estate as you do, and they have 10x, your default assumption should be that they know better than you. Like I've got to, when I go to the doctor, my assumption is they know better than me about certain things, even though I might spend half a day sitting in the lobby of a doctor's office. I don't know better. And so we've got to figure out a way that we burst through there, create some value while we're waiting in that position. And it's not necessarily going to be right off the bat to go start something that's better, because the thing that's better is often the thing that becomes a curse that kind of weighs you down. So what do we look for while we're sort of waiting in our current positions to figure out a way to go out? The way that you sort of pair that, so you de-risk, you de-risk the leaving. This is for the man that's making a decent, comfortable living, but not making enough really to burst out, but also not enough to, not so low to cause them to want to leave. Is you look for intellectual property opportunities. You look for patents. You look for processes within your work that no one's capitalizing on, that you see, and you see a fit for that. Now, caution. Many of you are extremely bright. Many of us are extremely bright. And we think that we know it all. And you might identify that one IP, that one intellectual property opportunity right off the bat. You see it in the first 6 months, see it in the first year. I would encourage you, I'm gonna fall back on Robert Greene's book, Mastery, on this. I would encourage you to just pause for a second. Just pause. Don't go start raising capital. Don't go sending this around to investors to try to raise money to go, start this launch this new business because you have this intellectual property concept out there. A lot of the IP that's out there in existing industries is already taken up and already reserved by larger, more dominant competitors. So if you have a great idea that is intellectual property, like patent, trademark related, that you want to work on, give it some time. In fact, I would give it 6 to 12 months at least in your current business, and sort of A/B test it. A/B test it versus your current scenario, how you're currently operating in your job or that work that you're in, and then also how you would do it in this new world, this new IP, this new intellectual property mechanism that you have in mind. The problem with intellectual property is the same problem that you have with capital attraction and this barrier to entry scale up model that we talked about very early on, where you're trying to inhibit competition from getting into your industry. This is why, again, the high intellectual property businesses that also are very capital intensive, the pharmaceutical businesses and the data center businesses, are very, very difficult to compete against, is because they have both. They have the technology and they have the capital concentration there. And so it's very hard to compete there. But Joe Blow is going and mowing the yards It's very easy to get there. I need $100 for a lawnmower, and I'll get out there and mow it myself, and I'll make a few dollars. And so we've got to figure out a way to get there. So the intellectual property, the way that this works is the people that are in more, I guess, better capitalized positions than you are in this particular industry, that you have this great idea that you want to go start. If there's IP attached, if there's a trademark or a patent attached, more often than not, there is going to, it doesn't matter whether it's a legitimate opportunity or not. Let me give you guys a little bit of a different view here. It doesn't matter if there's an opportunity or not there. There's a truth that they have capital that you don't have. And it doesn't matter whether you even have a patent. It doesn't matter if you have a patent or not. It doesn't matter if your patent's a great idea. Because if your patent's a great idea and you don't have the investment to be able to defend that patent, even if it's a defensible patent, the attorney telling you it's a defensible patent, you still have to have the financial capacity, financial resources to go in there and defend it. So this is where we run into sort of a catch-22 for people that are going out on their own. They have a technical idea where they want to have an IP, they have a patent, anything they want to do, and they go out and start trying to fundraise immediately. They can't just fundraise $1 million. You can't, and $1 million is very, very difficult to fundraise. Dr. Bolaños, Pura Vida, love it, love it, love it. This young man was in the trumpet section with me in Oklahoma City, one of the great trumpet players of America. There he is. Good to see you, brother. And so we've got to work our way through that strategy. So there's certain places you need to play where you're going to have a need for a huge amount of capital, because the capital is the defensive mechanism. You may never use the capital, but you need that capital as a defensive mechanism to be able to protect the IP. And so these are sort of the catch-22s. From starting out, it's very, very difficult. It's very ominous looking when you look up that barrier to entry and you look at these big businesses that have all this political capital and trying to think, how am I going to compete against them? And so it's your mindset. It's actually your mindset that fixes that situation. I think about Josh, who just commented a second ago. I think about, he and I were sitting out. I think he was working at a car lot. He's managing a car lot when we were in college. And I was looking at this guy. I was like, man, like, you got this great location here, but you're selling used cars, and how are you going to sell this car? Like, I'm looking at these cars. How can you sell this car? And he's just so dominant, just so great with people, encouraging them, like this is the car for you. Look at think how great you're with this car. Get yourself in the car and imagine yourself in the car. And the ability to be able to imagine yourself in a specific situation, it's called the law of assumption. If you can assume that the future state is the current state and you act accordingly, then all of a sudden you're able to cobble together the competency and the energy to go and make that an effective truth in the long term, as long as you can hold that picture ahead of you. And so we work through this, we push through this, and we figure out a way that we can move into that desired state. But we've got to figure out a way to get there. And the way that we figure out to get there is through this self-employment opportunity. It's the self-employment quadrant that helps you put together the process and put together the skill sets to learn. This is where you start to go out and find your attorney that you want to work with for the next 20 years. You're able to find the CPAs and the tax strategy that you want to work with the next 20 years. This is why you don't move straight into a business scenario unless you're some extremely well-connected, well-gifted person that has just a drive, an insatiable drive to go do something very, very specific. So this is your learning ground. This is sort of that 7 to 8 year period that Robert Greene talks about, and we push out through into those later quadrants of building business and becoming an investor. What kind of questions do you guys have? I'd love to answer some questions here. Nev, if you've got any questions that come out on the other channels, feel free to let me know. We tried something new this time. We didn't stream this to Facebook because the Facebook streams were not working as well, and the attendance numbers were a little bit off. So, for instance, I was looking at my screen, I had 80 people attending at the same time, but the Facebook viewers were looking at, there was only 3 people attending. So we're going to try these various platform tests and see how well they work. Planning a really big live stream for later on in July, maybe the first part of August. That'll be sort of a massive live stream, a formal presentation called the 10th Step, Annihilation or Metamorphosis. This will be a great opportunity to go in depth and have probably about an hour to hour and a half of strategic thinking about how to think about life, how to plan your life, and how to move forward no matter what situation that you're in, and develop a little bit of competency. Again, I say this, I don't overlook this, that your competency plus your integrity eventually become your identity. Your competency plus your integrity become your identity. Yeah, Paul, I think that's right. It's great observation from Paul. Facebook is a little bit glitchy for streaming. I agree with that. And it's weird. It's weird. So I did something. So I'm testing a little bit behind the scenes of a book launch. So I'm trying all this testing out of ads and different types of ad parameters on these different platforms. And I'm also trying to test out, well, how do you advertise events like live streams? And so I'm reading all these books. I'm working on all these systems on how to do this. And I put this ad out on X about how to promote a YouTube video on X. Yeah, invite me to Costa Rica. Invite me to Costa Rica. I'm there. I love Costa Rica. We used to go to Costa Rica about every year, and then we started going to Cabo after that. But great, very, very lovely country. The idea that you could just put money out there is a little bit differentiated, because I put, like for this live stream, I put an ad out 2 days ago on X, but linked to a YouTube stream just directly out of the gate. And I had a $600 budget on that. And I brought up the ad this morning to see how much of the $600 budget it spent. So it was 6-day ad actually for $100 a day. And it spent $0 of the budget. The ad's active. It spent $0 of the budget because I guess they don't want to send people off platform no matter how much money you're paying them. So that's the interesting thing. But you kind of learn that thing, those sorts of things as you're trying these various efforts. And sometimes you'll try 5 or 6 things and to find one thing that works. And that's just the way that life works. So bring your questions. Let me check the email questions and see if there's any questions there. So I know a lot of you guys are on the email newsletter. If you haven't subscribed to the email newsletter, I've got a lot of really great tips, really great tools there, like those 99 businesses that if you weren't here when we dropped that link to it, if you scroll up in your comments, you'll be able to find the link to the 99 businesses. It's a spreadsheet. So you can manipulate it however you want to. On Google Sheets, you can download it as a CSV, download it as an Excel file, but you can use that, sort of check off the things that you don't like, check off things that you do like, and move forward out of that. But we've got some other tools there. If you go to rickwalker.com, you click the little bonuses button at the top. I've got something called the 9 steps to build a life of meaning, which is what you see there in the graphic there below. It's a process. The book's coming out in July, but I'm also be able to tease some of this stuff out over video. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see this right after this live stream ends. We're going to send you directly to another video that I just released yesterday on the 4-point action loop. This is the 4-point action loop where you can hack some of the habits that you've formed to be able to essentially break bad habits and form new habits. And this is really something that's very, very powerful that I found. I actually discovered a lot of it in some of the psychology reading that I've done over the years. And then I was reading James Clear's book on Atomic Habits. The famous book Atomic Habits. He just did a great job marketing that book. I think you go on Amazon, he's like 130,000 reviews now, and it's just really a great process to think about this. That you got really 4 steps to hacking a habit. You can hack any one of the 4 things and be able to move on. And we shared that a little bit in the last live stream. And if you want information on that, again, we're going to play that immediately after this live stream. But I'm watching the weather come in. It is dark and ominous. The wind's blowing, so I don't know when when Elon's going to let me down with the stream link, the satellite internet. But it may cut off here in a second, so we may end here a little bit early. So I've given you a list of 99 businesses. Now you don't start 99 businesses. All you need is one. All you need is one. Let me give you an idea about how I started with one thing that was at the lower end of the barriers to entry. Let me start this back up. Let me give you my personalized barrier to entry ladder. This is how it worked for me, and it could work for you. Let me see if I can find a different writer marker here. So I didn't have any money when we started off. All I had was my mom. God bless her. She had $1,000. I don't know if she went and borrowed $1,000. I'm not sure where she got the $1,000, but she happened to have $1,000 when I was in college and loaned me the money. And so I was able to go over here, and I was able to take one summer, and I knew something about real estate, and I was able to do maintenance. This says maintenance down here. I know there's a little bit of a glare as the sun shifts and the lighting shifts here, but this is maintenance. And I was able to go and do cleaning and basic maintenance of real estate. And I would tell people, I'll give you a flat fee and I'll manage your school, your church, whatever it might be, for a flat fee. And everything that needs to be done, I'll just take care of it. I didn't have any money. All I had was labor. And so I was able to hire 4 people that first summer. And Josh may remember this a little bit. I came back, I think, my junior year, and I would do classes Monday through Thursday, and Thursday nights I would drive back down to Corpus because I started the business 9 hours from where I went to school. Went to school in Oklahoma City, was at home for the summertime and down in Corpus Christi. It's a 9-hour drive each way, and I would go back on Thursday nights. Fridays I would see the clients, and Saturdays I would train the staff, and Sundays I would drive back to 9 hours to Oklahoma City to go to classes the next week, or to play trumpet or whatever we'd have on the weekends. And so I would do that. Hired 4 staff after the first summer. I'd go back to train them, and then after a couple of years of this, maybe 5 years of this, I was able to add different markets, and so I added on the full scale management. This is like property management, but for commercial buildings. And so basically you take the maintenance component and you begin to outsource all of that. And you're able to add on the accounting component. So I'd been to school, I learned a little bit about accounting. I'd been doing accounting in my own books for my own employees. And we grew this one up to 400 employees by the time I was 26. And that's when we started adding the management component on it as well. So then we outsourced all the maintenance staffing, all the low margin staffing, because why is it low margin? Because it's the low end of this, because it takes very little dollars and very little technology and smarts to be able to start this. And so this is where we're at. So we moved to management, then we added on leasing, because leasing and broker. So we would buy and sell the properties that we were managing, and then we would start leasing them. Like, these require licensing. This is licensing comes in. This is your equivalent of going to medical school or going to law school, and you're able to add on the licensing, because you create this barrier here where certain people can't go up there and compete because they don't have the licenses to compete. But we were still in a situation where we're competing for leases, we're competing for broker assignments with other brokers in the market, other property management companies, and it was still very, very difficult to compete. And so we moved one more rung up the ladder, and this is where things really took off and a lot of success was found. We were doing such a good job, and move this other picture. We were doing such a good job for these buildings that we were leasing and managing. There was a family that I made sure a couple of weeks ago, but there was a family, very wealthy family, that ran a family office that had a lot of success, and they made so much money in their primary business. They're moving from the B, they were business owners, they moved down to the investor quadrant. They started putting the money in commercial real estate. They were buying, raw land. They were buying RV parks, started buying mid-rise and even high-rise office buildings. And over a number of years, we were able to take over the management, leasing, and the brokerage, the investment advisory brokerage of all of that real estate assets. So we're managing their high-rise buildings, managing all their other real estate for them. And there was about a 2-year time period, it may be a year. We made the family $15 million in profit. We made the family $15 million in profit. Now, we only took a few pennies off of that, but we made $15 million in profit. And when you're a wealthy family and you see someone that's sort of scrappy, they're hungry, they're entrepreneurial, they were dealing with me. They came to me and said, like, look, we've got capital we need to put out. We need to get an invest. Why don't you just go find the things that you want to invest in? And we'll come match that 10 to 1. So for every dollar that I could save up through my self-employment, through my business, I was able to get a 10 to 1 match. And so this is how things began to happen very, very quickly because with that offer, because they saw the competency, I was able to make them money here. I made them money. They didn't make me any money down here. I was able to get that 10x multiplier on the money I was able to deploy, and I was able to move into the investment category. So over here, I was I was moving into the PE space because I was able to understand how the leasing worked, how the brokerage worked, how the management worked, how the maintenance worked. I was able to understand how buildings operated. I was able to understand the entire expense side of the income statement and the income side of the income statement. And I became a desirable business partner over time. And I was able to get into the private equity business and actually own our own real estate. Look, there's one really safe way to protect your leasing, broker, management, and your maintenance contracts is by owning the buildings yourself. And so when you own the buildings yourself, you can do that. How do you own the buildings yourself? You find people and you're able to attract capital here. And this is the magical loop. This is where you move up. You move up the competency hierarchy, you move up the capital hierarchy, and you're able to have defensible positions here. So the number of people that have a 10-to-1 cash match program with high net worth people is 0 to none, is 0 to 1. And so that's how you build on this barrier entry process, and you're able to get ahead in life. This is how it happened for me anyway, and this is some of the steps that hopefully you'll find as well. But if you subscribe to my newsletter, I'm going to give you a sheet. I think it's a 5-page PDF that I put together that walk you through the barrier to entry strategy, give you some ideas about how to make it work for you, and move forward into this the same way that I've done. Again, I'm just one example of how I use this process to move forward over time. But again, this took me 20 years. It took me 20 years to move from being just a complete bloodbath of an industry in the maintenance management business to moving up to using licensing as a defensive mechanism to keep competitors at bay, and then moving up into the realm where you need both licensing and capital. This happens through relationships. So as you move up the relationship ladder, you move up the barriers to entry ladder, you're able to access different networks and different capital stacks, and it makes things work. And so hopefully this is helpful for you. So I want to give you some action items for today. Again, it's getting very, very dark here. I'm going to give you some action items for today. This is very, very important. That you don't need 99 businesses. All you need to do is find one that fits the season of life that you're in right now. So we're going to share. I think we've already shared the list, the 7 recommended books for people that want to begin an entrepreneurial journey. So inside that PDF, they're clickable. You can go to the Amazon pages and read about them. But if you don't have a preference, that very first book on the list, those are two options right here. So this is Peter Drucker's Managing Oneself book. Again, very, very thin. It's about a 1-hour read. And this is Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Again, this is classic. I was reading it back in the late 90s when Josh and I were hanging out when we were both trying to, way into making some money. And these are great tools. So I encourage these are number 1 and 2 on that list. So I encourage you to do that. That's action number 1. Action number 2, the storm is picking up big time. Action number 2, review the 99 businesses that I share, the spreadsheet. And I want you to identify 10 businesses that you believe you have a top 10% advantage on. So this is 10 businesses on that list that you have an advantage on. There's no sense in trying to compete in a space where you don't have an advantage. What is your advantage? And be realistic about it. Like, how are the competitors going to know your advantage? Is it a skill set that you've already developed? Is it capital that you can already access? Is it a process, a system that you already know about? Look for those top 10 businesses. And then every day for the next 2 weeks or next 7 days, I want you to remove one of those 10 businesses that as you think about it, as you sleep on it, that they're not a good fit. And so you're going to go from 10 businesses that you think you'd be top 10% on. You're going to move one a day for 7 days, and you're going to get down to 3. And next to those 3 businesses, you're going to see recommended books. I encourage you to either click on and buy those books or find another book on that list from Amazon where, I'm seeing the comments. Yeah, the weather is super nasty. Buy one of the 3 books, even buy all 3 of the books. Buy 3 books that are in each of the industries and start reviewing those books and sit on those 3 concepts for probably another 10 to 15 days. Those are a good amount because you want to sleep on your really important decisions, and then come back and watch some more videos. I'm going to put some more videos out here over the next couple of weeks. The next video that I'm going to put out after the 4-point action loop is going to be the 10 urgency accelerators. We talked about that a little bit last week, but next week I'll release a video called the 10 urgency accelerators. This is going to show you actually how to build the organization, build the process in place to move forward. But start with that list. You can go from 99, go to top 10 that you can be a top 10% on, and then find 3 businesses that you identify with. Or 2 books off the list. So there's 5 books that you can be reviewing right now. It's a great investment in yourself. And then finally, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to me on X, and I'll be here on a regular basis. I'm on X usually every day, and I always see all the comments there. Again, my newsletter, rickwalker.com, is very, very additive to your life. I'm going to send you an email about every other week. And I know a lot of you guys found me on there, but I am losing signal right now. I see it kind of going down here. And share with you well, and then of course, this is also the situation where my internet stops working here. So I don't even know if anyone's there anymore, but this is here. But we're going to have a video on the YouTube channel that allows you to look at the different habits that are in place there, and move forward with those to break those up. Man, this weather is just atrocious. I see there's still another 26 of you guys watching here across the different channels here. I'm going to send you this link right now, and hopefully you'll be able to use it here in a few minutes. But man, this is if you guys are in the Houston area, this is just an absolute bloodbath right now. It won't work. Anyway, so go to Rick Walker TX, and you'll be able to find the video there. Actually, here it is. I'm gonna put the link right now in the description. Again, I apologize for my lack of professionalism here. I didn't know the internet going out here, but here is the next video that I am putting the link to right now. So there's the YouTube link right there on how to hack your habits. About 8 minutes long. It's a great opportunity for you to learn, get to know some there. But thanks so much for joining the live stream. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you had fun. RickWalker.com. I will see you guys the next time. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you.